what our Creator had to say in these latter days. So we can always count ourselves as being blessed by our Creator for these things. In these latter days, let us always find the time to give Yahweh Elohim of Israel the peace, the glory, and the honor that's due to his magnificence. And as we attend holy conventions and assemblies, whether commanded or sanctioned by this sanctified body, let us forever show that we relish the great grace that has been bestowed upon us through walking in the truth and in sanctification before Elohim and man, that we may show ourselves to be the lights of truth in this gross darkness. Today, because of his holy words spoken through the holy prophets of our fathers, the 12 tribes of Israel, our Elohim, we bear record within our hearts and our minds that as we assess the deeds of of the 6 seeds planted in the earth, we see the nations forging a global community of trading partners. And it includes all the seeds except Israel, this renamed Negro, who can't prove secular roots or offer anything but physical service to the powers that be. Man wants to receive his God's condolences through Yahweh's blessing, but man misuses grace and the blood as man retains his own self. Therefore, only superficial changes will be made in one's character, and this Yahweh will not accept. It didn't change his words when our fathers were sold into slavery and worked 24/7, 365. And today, we won't change Yahweh's word nor works of the Spirit among us because of conditions, circumstances, or sheer foolishness of pride. Why? Because error in these things show us not to fear the Almighty, the all-powerful, and total essence of the glory of Yahweh Elohim Israel. This is the same light that shined into the pit that our fathers didn't understand. And people who don't know nor are concerned about their past will definitely repeat it or be absorbed among the nations. But Brother Steve, read the oracles of the church and invite him who stands at the door that he may come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may continue to read out of this great legacy, that we may continue to receive the blessings that Yahweh has bestowed upon us, that we might do what's necessary, that Yahweh will save us.
I'm going to read the oracles of the church beginning at 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves. For love shall cover the multitude of sins.
Amen.
Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man have received a gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yeshua HaMashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for the anointed one's sake have forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim as their children, and walk in love, as the anointed one also have loved us, and have given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness, all covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becometh saints, neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks.
Amen.
Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the church.
Amen. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the church and Holy Convention. I'd like to start our class today in the prophet Yirmiyahu chapter 50 in verse 1 through verse 34. Jeremiah chapter 50 in verse 1 through verse 34. And incidentally, Brother Elder Pace called this morning, and he sends his love and so forth. We've been doing the reason why he's out of class. He wanted you to understand the reason why he's not here. And that is because 10 years ago we laid some plans down, and the brother's been diligent in working in those plans, and it's just about to attain success. And he can't be here with us, so let us offer up our prayers to the brother, because the brother is doing a good job in what he's got to do, and he's been very diligent and very patient in doing these things, and that's just what it takes in order to get the job done. But Jeremiah 50, and Brother Stephen, why don't you pick that up at verse 1 for me?
The word that Yahweh spake against America and against the land of the Aryans by Yirmiyahu the prophet. Declare you among the nations and publish, and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Say, America is taken. Baal is confounded. Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north there comes up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. In those days and in that time, says Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Yehudah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek Yahweh their Elohim. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, Come, and let us join ourselves to Yahweh in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, We don't offend, because they have sinned against Yahweh. The habitation of justice, even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. Remove out of the midst of America, and go forth out of the land of the Aryans, and be as the he-goats before the flock.
Don't be followers. He told you to be as the he-goats before the flock. See, we must understand, and I keep trying to remind us of this, we must understand that once we get into that wilderness out there ain't going to be no few people. It's going to be millions of people in that wilderness, and they're going to have people that's going to have to let them know what's going on, because many people are not going to know what is actually happening. The only thing they're going to know is that America is partially underwater already because of the destruction of the ecosystem and the melting of the ice on the North and the South Pole. People are going to see these things, but they're not really going to know what's going on. And that's where you're going to come into place. See, Yahweh is training you in these things for a reason. That's because eventually all of you are going to have to be he-goats. And if you don't think that you can cut it, you might as well go out that door there now. Okay. And you go back and read what happened with our fathers and see that that's what we need to do. But we might as well close up shop and go on home and go out and party. Yeah. Go ahead and read, Steve.
Yirmiyahu chapter 50, verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against America an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain.
Now we can see the foundation of this being laid now with the problem that America is having with the UN and the EU. We can very well see that. See, America want to dictate, but she doesn't understand that she's only been given her power because of who she have over here as her captives. And we know that whoever had Benjamin, Judah, and Levi as their captives, they were the most powerful nation upon the earth. So this is what's sustaining her. But see, they knew this before time. But see, they've forgotten these things. This is why they're putting the pressure on our people that they're putting on our people with replacing us with Hispanics, putting our people off these jobs and so forth. Black folks is going to eat, okay? We're going to get that money from somewhere, some kind of way, and they know this. This is why they are building so many prisons. This is why they're getting ready to privatize the prison system, so this way the corporate structure can be in charge of all these black folks instead of the governmental system. The government can wash their hands of us, but it's not going to work. Yahweh has already decreed that America be the first nations destroyed. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, Yahweh is going to kill you. This is the only nation on earth to where it's the land of the free and the home of the brave. And you are you free enough to do anything that you are brave enough to do. And Yahweh don't like things like that. This is why Yahweh destroyed us. And does the nations think that they're going to go together all unpunished? Look over in Africa and see what's happening. Look, people dying off by the millions in Africa. And the EU is talking about forgiving their debt and putting $12 billion into Africa between now and in 2012. It's not going to happen. It's not going to, well, it's going to happen, but it's not going to do any good simply because Yahweh has already said, whosoever touch you, touch the apple of my eye. I'm going to recompense it to it. So we know that America has to be destroyed so that the beast can be set up over in Europe, so that the beast can start breathing down on our people worldwide. See, we just having problems here in this country here. But if y'all have noticed, with the bombings that just took place over in England, if y'all have noticed, when they went into the hospital scene, you notice how many black folks y'all saw in them uniforms and so forth on? We got 9 tribes over there, and they're going to suffer just like America suffered. But Yahweh has to get all of us back over the Eurasian African continent so he can deal with the nations from that aspect and don't have to worry about all this stuff that's going on over here in America. And he would have fulfilled his word to our father Abraham when he told him we'd be here 400 years. That would be fulfilled. And then the rest of the covenant that was made with Isaac and Jacob, those will start to fall into place right at the ending of the 3.5-year Great Tribulation period. But go ahead and read, Steve.
Yirmiyahu, chapter 50, verse 10. And the land of the Aryan shall be a spoil. All that spoiled her shall be satisfied, says Yahweh. Because you were glad, because you rejoice, oh, you destroyers of mine heritage, because you have grown fat as the heifer at grass and bellow as bulls.
Right, don't they call it global cop? Huh? Every time somebody stick up their head any place in the world about anything, there's America. You can't do that. There was over in Tiananmen Square with that mess, right? Remember when that stuff happened? Huh? When they tried to run that boy, when the boy tried to get run over by that tank, rather. That happened over there. And they're still talking about the results of the repercussion that took place in Europe because of what happened at Tiananmen Square. Why do you think America went on and made China her #1 trading partner? Go ahead and read.
I want to just throw out a comment, don't have anything, but you remember when they ran that camera into that meteorite last week? Do you know I saw some people over there in Russian band, America got those Russians hot with them about that? Because of that cosmic fallout of that thing when it hit it. I heard one of those Russians saying that America went up there and did that and didn't tell anybody anything about it. I mean, this guy was furious, man.
Well, they must not have been listening too well, brother. You know, it's a lot of things being said, but a year and a half before. Remember the last time the Halley's comet came around? They talked about the next time a comet get itself into position, they were going to crash a spacecraft into it. They want to find out what it's made of. They're trying to get back into, they want to deal with something now to tell them how things was created. I can tell them, in the beginning, Yahweh created heaven and earth. See? But this is what they want to get off into. They announced it a long time ago. The nation just want to have something to talk about. If you notice, it's nation that's talking about that's raising up against America, brother. At one time, small nation wouldn't open their mouth. Simply because, brother, she's lost. She is losing her. She's losing her power over the nation. The nations are not afraid of her anymore. You see, but it's our God that's bringing this thing about, not man. Man think he's doing something. Only thing man is being is the same thing we are, cannon fodder.
That's true.
Yeah, but go ahead and read, brother.
Yirmiyahu, chapter 50, verse 11. Because you were glad, because you rejoiced, O you destroyers of mine heritage, because you are grown fat as the heifer at grass and bellow as bulls, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goes by America shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourselves in array against America round about. All you that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh. Shout against her round about. She hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her, as she hath done, do unto her. Cut off the sword from America, and him that handles the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land.
So when you talk about in the time of harvest, we know that this thing is going to go down in the fall of the year, don't we? Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 17. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria have devoured him, and last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Mesopotamia, have broken his bones. Therefore, thus says Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of America and his land as I have punished the king of Assyria. And I will bring Israel again to his habitation, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead.
Praise Yah.
In those days, and in that time, says Yahweh, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none. And the sins of Yehuda, and they shall not be found. For I will pardon them whom I reserve.
Listen, he said, verse 20, listen to how fantastic, how magnificent verse 20 is. It said, in those days and in that time, says Yahweh, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none. There shall be none. See, Yahweh is in the process now of purging out the old man. The problem is, we just like holding on to, you know, that old stuff. But Yahweh is in the process of purging out the old man to bring together a pure people upon the earth. Go ahead, read, brother.
Yirmiyahu, chapter 50, verse 21. Go up against the land of the rebels, even against it, and against the inhabitants of visitation. Waste and utterly destroy after them, says Yahweh, and do according to all that I have commanded you. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction.
So we understand that she's going to be invaded first. But they're going to beat off that invasion. But they ain't going to beat off the bombs that's going to get falling. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is America become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for you, and you also are taken, O America, and you were not aware. You are found and also caught, because you have striven against Yahweh. Yahweh have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Adonai Elohim of hosts in the land of the Aryans. Come against her from the utmost border. Open her storehouses. Cast her up as heaps and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bullocks. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of America, to declare in Zion the vengeance of Yahweh our Elohim, the vengeance of his temple. Call together the archers against America, all you that bend the bow, camp against it round about. Let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she have done, do unto her. For she have been proud against Yahweh, against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, says Yahweh. Behold, I am against thee, O you most proud, says the Adonai Elohim of hosts. For your day is come, the time that I will visit you.
Go down to verse 34, brother.
Their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of America. A sword is upon the area, says Yahweh, and upon the inhabitants of America, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men.
Okay, my brother. Now let's go into chapter 51 and read verse 1 through verse 14.
Verses 1 through
14.
Verse 1. Thus says Yahweh, behold, I against America and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind, and will send unto America fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about.
This is what the scripture was talking about when it said the sea and the waves roaring and so forth and so on. Because of the mighty winds that Yahweh is going to send upon America. And we can see and we hear the scientists say that we're getting more hurricanes now and they're becoming more intensified. I mean, they got a Category 4 hurricane raging on in the Caribbean now, headed for America. And they've already said, with the melting of the polar caps, they've already said that a lot of Florida and a lot of Louisiana, because their sea level is going to be underwater. We know that. We can look for it coming, and we're going to deal with what's going to cause that to happen. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 3. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lift himself up in his brigandine, and spare you not her young men, destroy you utterly all her hosts. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Aryans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel have not been forsaken, nor Yehuda of his Elohim, of Yahweh of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of America, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. America have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. America is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed America, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Yahweh hath brought forth our righteousness. Come, and let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh our Elohim.
He didn't say declare it in heaven, did he? Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 11. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields, Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Russians. For his device is against America to destroy it. Because it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. Set up the standard upon the walls of America. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare. For Yahweh have both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of America. O thou that dwelleth upon many waters, abundant in treasures, your end is come, and the measure of your covenant.
So when we get in the book of Revelation to read about the destruction of one of those Babylons, we know that he was talking about America. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 14. Yahweh of hosts have sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill you with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against you.
Verse 19 through verse 33.
Elder, the same thing that we read in Daniel when it says that you see your witness have reached to heaven when you look in that, right? And you found wanted. Saying that
And you can tell that America has already been found wanted, man. Look how much she has to depend on other nations for her energies and so forth. Look how the farmers, how the banks rather, as a few years ago, how the banks started foreclosing on all the private farmers and so forth, and these big conglomerates like the National Grocers Association and Arthur Daniels Midland and Company, how they come in and buying up all that land and so forth. That's where they plan on putting us at to work once they privatized the prison system. And now with the Patriot Act being signed and the ruling that the Supreme Court came down with a few weeks ago, we're in big trouble. We as a people are in big trouble. You know why? The only thing that we add to master is labor.
Okay. That Midland people, that one you just called out, that's a Midwestern. Yeah, I'm saying it's basically coming down that grain belt, right?
One of the biggest, they own most of the grain belt. It's one of the biggest grocers in the world, bro. Yeah. Yeah, all of that grain belt out in the Midwest and so forth. Who you think controls that?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and read, bro.
Yirmiyahu chapter 51, verses 19 through 33. The portion is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Yahweh of hosts is his name.
That's not what our preachers say. Our preachers tell us, well, see, Yahweh got rid of y'all and he chose us. That's not what I read in the New Testament or the Old Testament. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 20. You are my battle axe and weapons of war. For with you will I break in pieces the nations, and with you will I destroy kingdoms, and with you will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with you will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With you also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with you will I break in pieces old and young, and with you will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with you the shepherd and his flock, and with you will I break in pieces the farmer and his yoke of oxen, and with you will I break in pieces captains and rulers. And I will render unto America and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, says Yahweh. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, says Yahweh, which destroys all the earth. And I will stretch out mine hand upon you and roll you down from the rocks and will make you a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of you a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but you shall be desolate forever, says Yahweh. Set you up a standard in the land. Blow the trumpet among the nations. Prepare the nations against her. Call together against her the kingdoms of Ariad, Mani, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a captain against her. Cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Russians, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble and sorrow. for every purpose of Yahweh shall be performed against America to make the land.
Hold up, brother. Come, she.
Verse 28. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Russians, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of Yahweh shall be performed against America to make the land of America a desolation without an inhabitant. The mighty men of America have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might have failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of America that his city is taken at one end, and that the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burned with fire, and the men of war are affrighted. But thus says Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel. The daughter of Europe is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her. Yet a little while, and the time of our harvest shall come.
Okay, my brother, now verse 41 through verse 58.
Verse 41. How is Shishak taken? And how is the praise of the whole earth surprised? How is America becoming astonishment among the nations? The sea has come up upon America. She is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. Her cities are a desolation, a dry land, and a wilderness, a land wherein no man dwells, neither does any son of man pass thereby. And I will punish Baal in America, and I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he hath swallowed up, and the nations shall not flow together any more unto him. The wall of America shall fall. My people, go you out of the midst of her, and deliver you every man his soul from the fierce anger of Yahweh.
You see what he's saying? He said, you go out of here, but deliver your soul from my fierce anger. My nation, you deliver your soul from anger, because if we don't do the things that we're supposed to do, don't y'all know we're gonna either die here or be purged out of that wilderness? You know, people walk around, the Christians walk around talking that talk, well, you know, and all the people that's dead, y'all, we're going to raise them up and give them a second chance. Biggest lie ever been told. Biggest lie ever been told. And if we don't get this thing now, because of all the people that has died so that we could receive these things, do you think that we're going to go all together unpunished? Go on and read, brother.
Verse 46. At least your heart faint, and you fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. So
when we hear the rumor coming forth that Europe and America is Russia is having a problem, we know it's going to be that year, and then we're going to know that the next year a rumor is going to come forth, and after that rumor come forth the second year, we got to get up out of here. We got to get up out of here, ain't no doubt about it. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 47. Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of America, and her whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for America, for the spoiler shall come unto her from the north, says Yahweh. As America have caused the slain of fall, so at America shall fall the earth.
At this specific time, because we know at Armageddon, which has nothing to do with Babylon, we know that at Armageddon, that's where to be fought, and that's where the major people upon the earth, the souls upon the earth is going to be destroyed. Megiddo. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 50. You that have escaped the sword, go away, stand not still. Remember Yahweh afar, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. We are confounded because we have heard reproach. Shame have covered our faces, for strangers are coming to the sanctuary of Yahweh's house.
Not only have they come into the sanctuary of Yahweh's house, but I tell you what you do, you take an encyclopedia and look up all the religions around the earth and see where they came from. And you see all these that's coming to Yahweh's house happening. We got brothers that's off into it. Now, I don't know too much about the Asians language, religions, but I do know that the religions that Africans and the Gentiles and so forth practice, and the Arabs practice, we know Jacob is off in there knee deep. And here we are, here with all this junk going on with the Antichrist and the Christians of America, we got brothers over here talking about a million plus, what they call this, more march. And they're out there on Camden Road today trying to put these things together. Don't these folks know that these Gentiles are going to destroy them in one way or another soon, pretty soon? Go ahead and read. It's already getting to the place to where if you got any kind of prison record or anything, you can't get a job. And what you think going to happen once they start turning directly on the Antichrist? Brothers going to start putting off these kufis. You can believe that. You can believe that. Yeah. Go ahead and read, man.
Yirmiyahu, chapter 51, verse 52. Wherefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will do judgment upon her graven images, the wounded shall groan. Though America should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, says Yahweh. A sound of a cry comes from America, and great destruction from the land of the Aryans, because Yahweh have spoiled America and destroyed out of her the great voice. When her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of their voice is uttered, because the spoil is come upon her, even upon America, and her mighty men are taken. Every one of their bows is broken. For Yahweh Elohim a recompense shall surely requite. And I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her captains and her real mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake, says the King, whose name is Yahweh of hosts. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, broad walls of America shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire, and the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary.
Right, because they will not be able to put this thing off that Yahweh has brought upon the nation. Now, the dilemma we have is that we as a people don't have a country the nations will allow us to return to. But just as our fathers had help from Yahweh whom they didn't know, so shall our people be delivered to the same place of purging by the Elohim of our fathers as the daughter of Babylon is destroyed. This is the reason for our calling, that our nourisher and strength giver's hand might fall upon us, not in judgment, but in purifying us unto great worth and fruitfulness in the holy works of his Spirit in our bodies as well as in the churches of Yahshua. St. John chapter 15 in verse 1 through verse 27.
My brother, they talk about destroying, they're going to destroy her from the sea. Old ancient Babylon was landlocked.
Of course.
So you know they talking about something else.
Right. What did he say? O thou to dwell upon many waters, right? She sits on the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Gulf of Mexico, the Bering Straits, right? She's totally surrounded by water, isn't she? Okay. Okay.
That's also a religion all over the world, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure. They're everywhere, bro. They stretch out there everywhere. Her foothold, Christianity took off like 40 going north, brother. Yes, sir. Because she would tell some what they do, they bring somebody in their country. First, they send the missionaries in. People plant vegetables and so forth, taking medicine and so forth, digging wells and everything, but they got their Bible.
Yep.
Do you know the Lord? Right.
That's how they got the island of Hawaii.
Of course.
It was in the Bible.
Of course they did. It's the same way they got South America, brother, from when they came in there with Montezuma and those folks, the same way they got South America. The Spanish conquistador, it happened the same way. Every place these Christians has went, brother, it happened the same way. They took it by hook and crook.
Elder, remember the scripture, I think John said the thief comes not but to steal and destroy, right? It's a horror.
Right. You say if the thief comes to you, what makes you had enough? But no, you don't have enough. You're taking everything from everybody. Yeah. John chapter 15, and pick that verse 1, my brother.
I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that bears not fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he purges it, that it may bring forth more fruit.
Praise God.
Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except you abide in the vine, nor can you, except you abide in me.
Praise God.
I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abides in me, and I in him, the same brings forth much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, is cast forth as a branch, and is withered, and gather them, and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. Abide in me, and my words abide in you, you shall ask, shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that you bear much, so shall you be my disciples. As the Father have loved me, so have I loved you. Continue you in my. If you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full.
Praise God.
This is my command, that you love another as I have loved you.
Well, ask yourself, out of the people that's in this congregation, who in here is willing to give up their life for the person that's sitting next to them? Read, man.
Verse 13. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth, I call you not servants, for the servant knows not what his Adonai does. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father known unto you.
And the things that haven't been made known unto you at the Culture Center, keep sitting in that seat there. Just keep sitting in that seat there, and I bet you're going to find out. You're going to hear a lot of things you don't want to hear, and you're going to hear things that you want to hear. But you're going to find out what y'all will.
Elder, in verse 14 it says, you are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. As members in the body of the Messiah, do we have just as much right to say that to one another?
Of course. Of course. Why you love you want to love side love him. You love your friends, brother.
Right.
Okay. Okay. If you got a wife and she ain't your friend, y'all just staying together.
Right.
Y'all gonna have big problems. Okay. Vice versa. Okay. Go ahead and read, man.
Verse. You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you, that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain. That whatsoever you shall ask of the Father in my name, give it you. These things I command you, that you love one another. If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love his own. But because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you.
Like you said in St. Matthew 5th chapter, you the salt of the earth. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 20. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Adonai. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. But all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me.
Praise God.
If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin. But now they have no cloak for their sin. He that hates me hates my Father also. If I had not done among them the works which none other man did, they had not had sin. But now have they both seen and hated both me and my Father.
And you know what? I can honestly say, if I hadn't done the work that I've done among a lot of people here in Atlanta and teaching them this word, then they would not. They wouldn't have no consciousness of sin. They wouldn't know what sin is. But once they come in and hear the truth and acknowledge that these things is the truth and come under that blood, now they don't have any covering for this sin because they've counted the blood of the Master. And what do you think going to happen when you count the blood of the Master and turn your back? See, we have instructions we have to follow. Not in just we have law in the Old Testament, but we have instructions in the New Testament as how we should walk. And when we don't walk according to these things, there is no reason that you can come up with for not walk. I mean, we're gonna find a reason, but it's a lie, and we know it. What it is, man just do not want to do what Yahweh say. And I'm guilty of it myself. Man wants to do what man wants to do, when he want to do it, how he want to do it, where he want to do it, who he want to do it with. That ain't going to work. But before this thing over, you can believe one thing. Yahweh going to purge it out of you, you're going to die in this God-forsaken place. Go ahead and read. The folks talking about, well, you know, all these people going to be missing off the earth. They're going up to heaven. No, they ain't. The people that's going to be missing is going to be people that's going to be dead because the Messiah is coming back to put the wicked out of the world. Well, this is what he's trying to do with us now. Purge out the old evening so we can become a new law. Then we can say that we're friends.
Elder, too, that's why that John 3:16 comes in. The word that we speak about is the word, the consciousness coming over that word.
Of course, it's not the natural things that man dealing with. It's the spiritual things that man is dealing with, because there's got to be a spiritual government set here upon this earth. It's got to be. It always has been a spiritual government here on the earth. Why do you think we're alive this day? Go ahead and read.
John chapter 15, verse 25. But this comes to pass that the word might be in their law, they hated me without a cause. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceeds from the Father, he shall testify of me, and you also shall bear witness, because you have been with me from the beginning.
Hebrews 12 and verse 18 through verse 29. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 18 through verse 29.
I love Marvin like to use the Comforter as Muhammad from back in Mecca, right? The spread of
This is why Yahweh sent y'all a champion that's gonna teach you this word. Now, it don't make no difference whether you like me or not. I got what you need, so you need to get it. Because if you could get it on your own, you would already had it, and you wouldn't have had no reason to come here. Go ahead now, read, brother.
Hebrews chapter 12, verse 18. For you are not come unto the mount that might be touched, and that burn with fire, nor unto blackness and darkness and the sound of a trumpet, and the voice of words, which voice they that heard entreated that the word should not be spoken more, for they could not endure that which was commanded. And if so much as a beast touch, it shall be stoned or thrust through with a dart.
Now, what he's talking about right now, if you got a heading, it tell you what happened on Mount Sinai. If you go back and read that, you get all this information here. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 21. And so terrible was the sight that Moshe said, I exceedingly fear and quake. But you are come unto Mount Sion, and unto the city of the living Elohim, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels.
And he has given his angels charge over you in the way you shall not Yahweh's law. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 23. To the general assembly and church of the firstborn, which are written in heaven, and to Elohim, the judge of all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect, and to Yahshua, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaks better things than that of Abel. See that you refuse not him that speaks. For if they escape not who refuse him that spoke on earth, much more shall not we escape if we turn away from him that speaks from heaven, whose voice then shook he hath promised, saying, Yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also heaven. And this word, yet once more, signifies the removing of those things that are shaken, as of things that are made, that those things which can be shaken may remain.
Praise God.
Wherefore we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace whereby we may serve Elohim acceptably with reverence and godly fear. For our Elohim is a consuming fire.
Amen. Romans chapter 2 and verse 17 through chapter 3 and verse 2. Romans chapter 2 and verse 17 through chapter 3 and verse 2.
Yeah, we just read there how it says, it shows you when it says you'll come up to, so you'll come up to Mount Zion and see the as really have heat. And the heaven, and you use the revelation, it says, you move the which the God shoots free. And the Lord of all, then John saw it coming down. Showing the physical. That's the kingdom.
Right. See, this is by not having a teacher that's sent from the Creator of all things. This is why a man get off into that junk that they get off into when the Messiah told the apostles, prepare. He said, in my Father's house there are many mansions. If it's not so, I would not have told you so. But I'm going to prepare a place for you so that when I return, I will receive. So he said, well, see, the Christians say, well, see, he went to heaven to prepare mansions for the people that's going to be saved. I said, man, heaven's going to have a zillion mansions in. So no, that's not what he went to prepare. Go read Revelation's 21st chapter, and he prepared the holy city of Jerusalem for his apostles. This is why it had 12 foundations. The name of one of the apostles. So you know, man try to use that to say, well, this is our reward when we get off into heaven. Christ said, no man goes to heaven except him who came down from heaven. So box with that.
Right. Also, we read in Deuteronomy 18, the same as the prophet, right? You know, Moses, Yahshua was just the same order like that, the high priest. Moses was showing how to make the parting, and when the king was showing how the parting had been get it in the month, right? So you see the same Yahshua being the high priest, you know, the same order, comparing it, bring it down.
Right. With one change.
Yeah, so.
Once Lucifer's thrown out of heaven, who will be the other angel of the mercy seat? Yeah. Lord, finish up, Steve.
Romans chapter 2, verse 17. You'll call a Jew and rest in the law and make your boast of Elohim and knoweth his will and approve the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law. And that you yourself are a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which have the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. You therefore will teach another, teach yourself. You that preach a man should not steal, do you steal? You that say a man should not commit adultery, do you commit adultery? You that abhorreth idols, do you commit sacrilege?
Now check this out. Now they're taking the 10 Commandments out of the court system, right? So they won't have to deal with these same things here that man is being warned of. You know why? So we ain't got no law. Yahweh told us to come just like we are, and he going to take us just like we are. That's the biggest lie that's ever. And if you believe that, it's because you never read this book here. See, this is why I tell you, read your book. Don't go and come in here and just take the scripture that you get on the Sabbath and on holy day and go back and do study on that. I mean, those are key. Read the whole book so you know which door the key fits. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 23. You that make your boast of the law, through breaking the law, dishonoreth your God. For the name of Israel is blasphemed among the Euro Gentiles through you, as it is written. For circumcision verily profiteth, if you keep the law. But if you be a breaker of the law, your circumcision is made uncircumcision. Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision?
And shall he not be counted as spiritual Israel? Shall he not be saved? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 27. And shall not uncircumcision, which is by If it fulfill the law, you judge who by the letter and circumcision does transgress the law. For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh, but he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart in the spirit and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of Yahweh. What advantage then have the Jew? Or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of Elohim.
Okay, my brother. Being Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's seed in the flesh, and being Yahweh Elohim's called, our chosen, our priest, we, as our fathers were, we are the objects of Yahweh Elohim's affection in these critical times. So being in darkness is taught to us by political and ecclesiastical tools of the nations, and being in service to the nations, the only hope Jakes strive in is to have more bigger crumbs to fall of Lucifer's worldly empowered children. And that, my holy family, that is occurring, has plagued our fallen people since 606 BC. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 31.
Yeah, Elder, we read there about circumcision of the heart, but then we gotta go to be saying that every heart under you, these people's heart is the law. You see the law is the
You have to circumcise yourself if you're going to walk humbly and justly before your Creator, man. We have a certain way that we have to walk, and we know that's the reason why we were brought over here. Our forefathers was brought over here slaves, man, because they didn't do it. And do we think just because we living in these sophisticated, high-tech times is not going to affect us? We living in. He said, "Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not against your neighbor." If we don't deal with these things, then truly we've been deceived by the adversary, the devil, and we know it. Matthew 24, and pick that up, my brother, at verse 1.
And Yeshua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yeshua said unto them, See you not all these things? Yes, I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be?
When shall these things be?
And what shall be the sign of your coming?
And what shall be the sign of your coming?
And of the end of the world.
And of the end of the world. He asked him 3 questions, right? Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 4. And Yeshua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying that I am the Messiah, and shall deceive me.
Right, they aren't sent. They aren't sent. What do these preachers say today? Yahweh called me to preach. He didn't send him nowhere. He called him to preach, right? Right, but listen to what's coming out their mouth. And you'll find out, if you don't deal with this book from Genesis 1 to Revelations 22, you might as well not deal with it at all. Read your book. It was left to you by your fathers. Read your book. Go ahead, brother.
And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrow. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name.
This is the period of time we're in the 5th seal now. Between the 5th and the 7th seal, that's when all this stuff is going to take place. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 10. And many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another.
As it is this day. We can't stand each other. We walk around and talk that, yeah, we love everybody and everything. Let somebody do something against you wrong. You got rocks in your jaws like that instantly. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 11. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
And we know that's already happened among us. Man, what do Jake care about his own people? Absolutely nothing. We know that. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
So he told him when these things going to be, that the temple is going to be destroyed, right? Wouldn't be one stone standing upon another, right? So we know that that's not part of the temple wall that's over in Jerusalem now that Esau called himself bound down against, right? We know that's not that. We know that's the four. So y'all, the Messiah's word did come to pass. General Titus took care of that business. General Titus came in there and Titus himself said, I destroyed Jerusalem down to the bedrock. But yet and still, when we look over there today, what do we see? We see what they call the temple wall, don't we? Okay, go ahead and read, brother.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end.
So he told them when was those things going to be, and that the gospel was going to be preached in all nations. Then the end of time that was given allotted the adversary, that'll be over, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now he still haven't he still haven't answered what would be the sign of his coming. That's what he's got to get to next. But go ahead and read this, brother. Verse 15.
When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso reads, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray you that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
For your sake, Israel, those days are going to be shortened, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is the Mashiach, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false messiahs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning comes out of the east, and shines even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man.
So he answered the third question now, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 28. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together.
And that will happen at Armageddon, because we know that he called, when we did our deliverance, he called all the feathered fowls and brought them to the valley of Megiddo, didn't he? Okay, go ahead.
Verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken.
This is when Lucifer gets thrown out of heaven, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds of heaven to the other.
Okay, my brother, now let's go and pick up some more things that he told them about this same period of time. Let's go into Luke chapter 21, and I want to read verse 14 through verse 36. Luke chapter 21 and verse 14 through verse 36.
Brother, that eliminates that part about he can come anytime.
Oh, man. You know that. See, black folks used to sing, where shall I be when the first trumpet sounds? Where shall I be when it sounds? I'll be somewhere listening for my name. They knew the trumpet was going to be blown. But now, folks don't know nothing. All they're waiting for, he done told them the signs and everything, right? And then what folks waiting for now is just to disappear off the earth. Things like that.
Like, Elder, we just read there, we said, pray not your flood on the Sabbath, right? The day of the December, always, the time of the flood, right? You gotta make a covenant with the rainbow, the days of the seasons, always around the Sabbath. I believe the Bible is still there,
Of course. If the earth remains, you're going to have days, weeks, months, years, signs, and seasons, ain't you? Okay. Okay.
What is the abomination of the desolation?
The abomination of desolation? There is like this. See where it says in the trap, no horn, Daniel 7, 8, and Revelation 13, 11?
Yeah.
There he is.
Okay.
Now that one's dead, so we got another one now, so we're going to change that. But whoever has that office there is the abomination of desolation. And this last one, he's going to get in the temple. Now, right now, the Pope say that they're direct successors of St. Peter. But this last one to get in place, he's going to say God himself. Check that out. That's because of the power that Lucifer is going to give him, brother. We read that he's going to be able to make fire come down out of heaven in the sight of men. Now, say a mighty army is coming up to Jerusalem, and he calls fire down from heaven and burn up that army, right? And all the folks see that, man, ain't no way the people, they can't tell him that he's God. But he's only going to be able to do these miracles in the sight of the beast. He won't be able to do it any place else but in the sight of the beast. That is Lucifer's way of deceiving man. As a matter of fact, sometimes when you get a chance to, my brother, remember the Messiah said, as lightning shines to the east and to the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Now we know it's going to be darkness all over the earth. And then all of a sudden, it's going to get light. And man is going to look up. The heavens is rolled back, right? Well, if you notice in Revelation, that happens twice. See, Christ ain't going to come and then everything close back up and he go back up and come again and it open back up. That's not what's going to happen. When Lucifer gets thrown out of heaven, that's when the heaven is going to open the first time, right? That's how he's going to be able to deceive the nation that this man is this beast, this last king is the Messiah returned back to this earth. Okay, go ahead, brother.
We're talking about the Pope, when the old one died and the new one was coming up. The guy on the television was saying, when he was saying he was coming out, he was saying, and the Holy Father is now about to speak. I mean, wasn't that just a clear, because the Bible says, I mean, you call no man your father, and they call him, he let them call him the Holy Father. I mean, what's totally wrong?
You know why? He's the father of that junk they practice. All these Christian religions that we're dealing with today, the Roman Catholic Church is the father of it. That's why they call it. But see, I know that to me, okay, but they call him the Holy Father because they think he's so reverent. He said he's a direct successor of St. Peter. Well, according to the Bible, that's a lie. Even the New Testament said Israel was given the covenant, the promise, the service, the giving of the law. All of the holy things of Yahweh was given to Israel. Even when just before Yahweh get ready to pour his wrath upon the earth, who was sealed? The 144,000 from all the tribes of the children of Israel. These are Yahweh's servants upon the earth, man. You see, but what happened was, us by us being in captivity, curses had to fall upon us, right? And by us being over here in this captivity, we can very well see how we've been blinded by the political and the ecclesiastical world as to who we are in our relationship with God. I mean, we even walk around talking about, the average one of us walk around talking about, yeah, we're African Americans. See? We don't know who we are. So it's going to be very easy to deceive man because man don't read this book. See? Y'all be taught this book. Right. I heard someone say they got up and went out in the hallway and someone asked them, why are you out here? Well, they talk about the same thing every week. See? They want something new. They walk in here having itching ears, wanting to hear something new. And the new stuff that you hear, you know where you're going to get it from? Off the internet. Right? Now he teaches to yourself having itching ears.
Even the
right?
the word we got there is from the ancient times.
You see, you gotta have something new. That's how they came up with the slip of the new moon, the barley being in the bowl, the Jericho, the slaughtering of the lamb, and so forth and so on. This is how people come up with these things because they leave their first love. And once they leave their first love, brother, you can say what you want to. The knowledge get cut off. That's why you hear all that junk, you see. Yahweh said, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy in the place where I choose to put my name. And all of them folks came through here. Go on and read, Steve.
Luke chapter 21, verse 14. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what you shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist.
Amen. And you can get the brightest Christian scholar, a Muslim scholar in the world, and bring him in here, and I'll make him shut up. If you listen to the truth. I don't care how many colleges and seminaries and how many plaques and everything he got on the wall. I didn't even graduate from the 9th grade. Make him sit down. You know why? It has to do with the spirit. It don't have to do with how much miseducation you have. Yeah. Go ahead and read. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 16. And you shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinfolks and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But there shall not a hair of your head perish. In your patience possess you your souls. And when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is near. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto.
Now he's talking about the desolation right here. He's talking about the desolation. Now go back and read what we read before and compare the two. Now he's talking about the desolation of Jerusalem. Get back into the city, and the armies come up. Jerusalem is not going to be destroyed. So now, what is he talking about? He's talking about between 70 and 100 A.D. when the Europeans came into Jerusalem and tore it down to the bedrock. But go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 22. For these be the days of vengeance.
When Yahweh is seeking vengeance on his people. Go ahead, brother.
That all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Euro-Gentiles, until the time of the Euro-Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near. And he spake to them a parable. Behold the fig tree and all the trees. When they now shoot forth, you see and know of your own selves that summer is now near at hand. So likewise you, when you see these things come to pass, know you that the kingdom of Elohim is near at hand. Yes, I say unto you, this generation not pass away till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that they come upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch you therefore, And pray always that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man.
Okay, my brother. Okay, my brother. Now let's go in and see what Brother Daniel had to say about this. Daniel chapter 7. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick this up at the last empire upon the earth. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 7 through verse 27. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 7 through verse 27.
You know, Elder, if you're not reading the prophecies, you cannot watch. You got to read the prophecies to be able to watch.
Right.
Christians.
Christ told you to watch,
Right.
but he didn't tell you what to watch for.
Right.
See, it's the prophets that told you what was going to happen on the earth, and that's what man don't want to deal with, is what the prophets had to say. That's why folks will read only the New Testament. They'll go in Psalms and try to Proverbs and try to find something to make them feel good. But when it comes down to the prophets, you know what they say? Man, God nailed all of that Christ nailed all of that to the tree. In other words, his God lied to y'all. He didn't mean none of that stuff. He took all that stuff from y'all and gave it to us.
Well, you know, Elder, what it says that watchman on the wall shall not go to peace, right?
They're still on the wall.
Right. Then he comes back and says, on their watchman are blind and the green dogs.
Right.
Who's on the watchman?
Right. And the watchmen has been on the walls of Jerusalem, brother, ever since before we went in Jerusalem. During the time of Melchizedek, the watchman was on the wall of Jerusalem. Daniel chapter 7. Verse 7 through verse 27.
After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and broke in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
So we can very well see who he's talking about now. He's talking about the Holy Roman Empire, right? Okay. And it was different from all the other empires, because all the other empires, man, folks did what they wanted to do. But this empire here, brother, they armed with Christian soldiers marching off the wall, brother. What you think the war in the Middle East is going to be about? Spreading Christianity through that Middle East, because they got to control the whole earth. So these Muslims are in some grave trouble. I don't care if they march 50 million men. Prophecies are going to have to be fulfilled. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 8, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
So we know what happened with that. We know that when Rome fell in 476 AD, the Huns, the Vandals, and the Ostrogoths began to, the Visigoths if you prefer, began to sack the Holy Roman Empire, and Emperor Justinian allied with Pope St. Leo, and they plucked those 3 horns up by the root, didn't they? Okay, go ahead and read, brother. That's how you think we end up with another 7 heads. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 9, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and to have his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spoke.
Well, what's the horn doing speaking after the judgment is setting the books open? He got a lot of nerve, ain't he? Go ahead, brother. He's been greatly deceived by the adversary, the devil. Go ahead, brother. But like you told Satan, so you deceive yourself. You such a liar and a deceiver, you deceive yourself. Now that's deep. Anybody that tell a lie to their own self, you know, they're stupid anyway. Go ahead and read, brother.
I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame.
So he beheld this thing up until the Messiah came then, didn't he? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 12, as concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time.
And the rest of the beasts, they had their lives, they had their dominion, right, their rulership taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a month and a year. Remember he said he's going to take all the rulers and put them in prison, and after many days they're going to be visited? There it is. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
So we know that verse 14 took place when the Messiah was on the Mount of Olives with the apostles, and he started to rise up, and the angel told him, say, you men of Galilee, why y'all standing gazing up into the heaven? Y'all got work to do. The same way he left is the same way he's going to return. So he ascended with the clouds of heaven, and it was given him all power. And he said that before he left, all power in heaven and earth is given unto me. Why? Because the brother laid down his life, right? Well, don't you think you're going to have to do the same thing if you're going to be a follower of him? I don't mean literally just haul off and die. But you're going to have to get rid of that old man. Because we know that Lucifer is that old man in us. We know it. We all know it. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 15. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit, in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came down to one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth.
The Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, and the Roman Empire. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
You're going to have that power to take this kingdom from these people with all these genius they got, all of this all these technological marvels that these folks have. You know doggone well we're going to have the spirit to deal with this, don't you?
You mean, Elder, they're not going to vote for the kingdom?
There will be something with it. If they voted for the kingdom, you know who would be you know who would be ruler of it, don't you? Okay. Not Michael Jackson. No, brother. They wouldn't pick Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, regardless of what color he's turned. Michael Jackson came out of Gary, Indiana.
I'm saying us.
Okay.
I thought you were talking about us. You left us, we vote Michael Jackson.
Why you say that, right? Because you understand that the kingdom is protected from the enemy, right? So now, I mean, the people that vote, they're not taking
And that's what your brother will have to come do. You're going to have to take the kingdom back from the nation. Yeah, Lucifer was given 6,000 years, so he's ran it and raved upon the earth for 6,000 years. Now the kingdom have to be taken from them and given to God's chosen people. And for the first time in man's life, man will have peace and prosperity and be glad to have it. But see, don't nobody want us in power now, because they look out in the streets and they see a bunch of nuts out there, you see. But they don't come in here and sit in that seat.
You know, Elder, to allow them never see that in the sense that, that is the rules from the kingdom of man. A lot of time to do righteousness, but like they say, show righteous arms the wicked. They wouldn't say some of that.
Yeah, show righteousness to the wicked. I tell you, show righteousness to the wicked, he was still not behold righteousness. And the man of uprightness, he would deal unjustly and would not behold the majesty of Yahweh. So why? Simply because Yahweh chose Israel and those who joined on and called those who he wanted to join on to the nation of Israel. And the nation don't want to deal with Israel, and definitely want to ostracize the people that join on to Israel. Man, you going out and hang with them folks ain't about nothing. They ain't got nothing. What you hanging with them folks for? Go on.
That's why I've been put out in the street on my job.
Of course. You talk too much, you word the man. That's what happened. You have to...
Brother, I almost got into a scrape the other day just talking about some things, brother. I'm telling you.
Man, y'all gotta learn how to keep your mouth shut on these jobs, man, if you want them.
Don't want to hear it.
See, if you want these jobs, you better learn how to say, yes, master.
No, it's not even with you.
No, master.
You know what, Elder? When I talk to the Euro-Gentiles about the scripture and who God's people are, he don't have any problem. There's 2 or 3 of them around. they know we Israel.
He may not have no problem with it, but you can believe one thing, that office got a problem with it.
I'm saying, you know where my problem come from, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Jay.
He's your worst enemy.
Right.
Man, it's going to come a time in this country where you're going to have to be a Christian in order to get a job. Watch.
Yeah.
Why you think they're replacing us with Julio? Because Julio is Christian, man. Julio is Roman Catholic. Okay. Go ahead and read, man.
Yes, sir. Daniel chapter 7, verse 19. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devoured, broke in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellow.
Now, Daniel wanted to know about this fourth beast because it already told him that the saints of the Most High shall take this kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Daniel was in the Babylonian Medo-Persian Empire. He was there. He was probably in the Greek Empire. But when the Romans came in, this is what he didn't know about, and because the thing that was going to take place, he was interested in knowing these things here. But go ahead and read, Steve.
Verse 21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them.
Who you think making war with us? It's the Christians. Don't the Christians run this country?
That's right.
Huh? Didn't the Christians come over here on a crusade and take it from the Indians and set up a governmental system and get them some slaves? Okay. Now we go to church with them. You know why? We love everybody.
That's not knowing that here was set up by the WASP, right? White, Anglo-Saxon,
Cool. Being kicked out of Europe. Yeah. Go ahead and read, brother. Yeah.
Question. This is regarding verse 9. Is it a description of Israel, the Spirit Son? If not,
He said, I beheld till the thrones were cast down in the ancient of days, he is sick whose garment was white as snow, and hair his head like pure wool, and is strong like fiery flame, and his wheels is burning fire. He's talking about Israel himself.
okay.
Okay.
Says talking about Israel himself.
Yeah. Get back in, ain't this what Elijah saw? Isn't this what we saw in John the Revelation, in the 6th chapter of Revelation? Same one. Okay. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. And another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times, and the dividing of time.
And all of this, verse 25 has been fulfilled except the last part of it where it says, and they shall be given into his hand until 3½ years. All the rest of it is already in the process. It either has been fulfilled or it's in the process of being fulfilled.
Yeah, Elder, before you go on to, you know, is that when Daniel's talking about the 4 beasts, you know, he never go on to the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th beast. He talk about saints, so we know that exactly these Europeans did a cultural extension that come to Rome. All the rest of America.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
Verse 26. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven,
Not over the heaven, under the whole heavens, right? Go ahead, brother.
shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him.
Okay, brother, let's go and pick this up in the book of Revelations, chapter 13, verse 1 through verse 17.
My brother.
Yeah.
Mentioned the fact about
Yeah, a lot of things brother sail over folks' head, man. That's because, you know, sometimes, brother, folks don't have their mind right to try to understand the intricacies of the mysteries that's in the book. And when they don't do that, people have been raised up to think Revelation is a scary book. Revelation means to reveal. You know, and Daniel explained all the symbolism and so forth and so on, so people don't know these things. When you get to talk about a beast that got 7 heads and 10 horns and 10 crowns and all that stuff, man, I mean, people are not aware of that because they never read the book. They never had nobody to go back to them and show them who each one of these heads were, who each one of these horns are. You see, so.
You know, elders told us we don't understand that Daniel was like very hard political prisoner, right? For a lot of matters, they just couldn't know his honor and Satyrian, but they really are revealing stuff to him and these beasts and things, and you read it there, like, John, you know, correct. But if you did in law school
And this book here, you ought to hear Jack Van Impe in the book of Revelation.
Oh, man.
Man, I done watched that dude tell so many lies, and then the next week, he don't even bother to back up off it. You know why? He's interested in selling tapes. He's interested in donations being sent into his worldwide ministry. He don't care whether I know that he told a lie or not, because the people he telling the lies to don't listen. Don't think they'll sit and watch the tape. See, and we know that TV is one of the greatest tools that man made, right? And it's one of the most devastating tools that man made.
But you know, El, it's like you always said, the kicker to the whole thing, if you've been taught that mess they've been taught about being, you know, raptured up to heaven, you really don't have to pay attention to anything said in this book.
Of course not.
If that's what you've been taught to say, I'm going to escape this wrath, because I had Christians tell me, say, man, I don't even have to deal with that, because when all this happened, I'm going to be up there with the ball.
Well, brother, I talked to a brother this week that's a Christian, and I kept reading things to him out of the book, and the only thing he kept saying was, well, what I believe is, what I believe. I said, man, you know what? It's stuff like that got us brought over here slaves, and you don't even know it. What folks believe. I said, don't you know that Yahweh don't care about what you believe, man? What he care about is his word being fulfilled. It's in this book here. Well, I just don't believe that Yahweh is just going to save the Jews. I said, I didn't say that.
Right.
I said, Yahweh is going to save all the nation that grab onto the coattail of the Jews. I mean, he created all the nation. He's going to save the nations, man. I said, I never said that. Yeah, but then he talked, well, I just can't believe he's just going to save the Jews. So I never said that. See, so. Yeah, folks don't listen, man. Folks hear what they want to hear. That's why they go to places like New Birth and all them other places, and Geraldine's right there, because they hear just what they want to hear, a bunch of nothing.
You got a new place over here next door, right?
Yeah, I noticed that. He ain't talking about nothing either. Go on in Revelation chapter 13, pick that up at verse 1.
Yes, sir. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
So he saw the same thing that Daniel saw, right? But Daniel really didn't understand these things. So he said, Daniel, he said, just just write down what I told you. Go on your way, and you're going to stand in your lot at the end of the days. It wasn't for him to understand. Our forefathers, many things our forefathers didn't understand. But y'all understand these things because the book of Revelations and different prophecies and so forth was open in the latter part of this century. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
Alexander the Great.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
That's the Medo-Persian Empire.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
That was Nebuchadnezzar with the Arabs.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Lucifer gave these kingdoms their power, didn't he? Why? And if you go back, you can see it, because they each one of them put their hands upon Israel, had Israel in captivity, didn't they? Yeah, go ahead.
And actually, it makes the point in.
I don't pretend I don't know where, this is horrible, I don't know where, but it makes the point to say that these men will think the enemy gave them authority, but we know all authority comes from the Father, so that they did everything for the enemy. So they,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, because they consider themselves getting their power from man and not from the creator of all things. Now, remember one thing now. Satan is still on this earth. The angels make themselves manifest in the form of men, and we know, according to the book of Revelation, we know where he dwells at when he's here on earth. He dwells where Antipas was martyred, and that's in Bulgaria. Okay, go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 3. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death.
Rome received that deadly wound, right? And she fell, right? Go ahead, brother.
And his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
Mm-hmm.
And they worshipped Lucifer, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Right, he's King of kings and Lord of lords. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Elohim, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Now, we had political Babylon in the beginning with the kings, right? Now we got the church that's coming up out of here. He got 2 horns like a dragon. In other words, he's carrying the power of the church and the state. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 12.
Now you can see why this dude gonna say he God, don't you? With all that power, man, how can you not think you a God? Didn't the Caesars think they were gods? Okay.
But Elder, they said a wrong fell about true hypocrisy with the birth. They still continue with that philosophy through the word.
Sure. Well, who else you think? Who does man think that they're going to get their doctrine through except through the Catholic Church? I mean, the Pope runs everything, brother. I mean, even the Jesuits. Look how the Jesuits came on, man. They got the mob out. The mafia came in and replaced the mob. Then La Costa Nostra came in and replaced the mafia, right? Then the Jesuits came in. The Jesuits was running it all. Now he got it all on one control. You see, the mob, anybody was leader. With the Costa Nostra, they had one leader, and most of the time he was in Sicily, wasn't he? Okay, go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he does great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceives them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Okay, my brother. Let's go and pick up the time period this thing is going to happen in, and see what's going to be taking place at that time. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 9 through chapter 8 and verse 13. Revelation chapter 6 in verse 9 to chapter 8 and verse 13. Now, verse 9 is the period of time that we are living in right now.
Verse 9.
Now, remember now, it's only 7 seals. 5 of them has already been opened. When the next seal gets open, man, all hell is going to break loose on it. We're going to have the worst problems we ever had in our life when the next seal is open. This is when Lucifer gets thrown out of heaven, and according to Revelations 12, when the dragon saw that he was cast out, he went to make war with the remnant of the woman's seed that produced a man-child that was going to rule all nations, right? And that's when the woman was given the wings of a great eagle that she might fly into the wilderness in her place, where she is nourished for 3.5 years, the 3.5 year great tribulation period from the face of the serpent. So let's pick up this time period here, chapter 6 and verse 9.
And when he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of Elohim and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Adonai, holy and true, do you not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season unto their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled. And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind.
Now, he's not talking about the stars that you see in the sky, because most of the stars that you see in the sky are bigger than the earth, and they are all balls of fire. Okay. So he's talking about the angels coming down to the earth periodically because of what's going on in the earth. Jake got to be protected. Okay, go ahead and read. And not only Jake, those who join on to Jake has to be protected. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places.
This is when Lucifer gets thrown out of heaven, and you go back further in Revelation, you see what's going to, the same things are going to take place when the Messiah comes. This is how, like I said, this is how the Pope is going to be able to deceive the nations and make them take that name, number, and mark, because the kingdom will be started as soon as this thing here happens right here. But go ahead and read this last kingdom of Satan, I'll put it that way. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 15. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?
The great day of the Lamb's wrath haven't come. The great day of the Lamb's wrath won't come until after Yahweh's wrath has been poured upon the earth. So you see how the nations has been deceived? Did you finish that up, brother?
No, sir, I got 2 more chapters.
Okay, go ahead.
Revelation chapter 7, verse 1. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the tree, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
In other words, he's holding back them 4 big mighty armies that the beast has assembled together, right? Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 2. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Elohim, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Elohim in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Yehuda were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000.
No, that ain't what I read. Read that again. Verse 5.
Of the tribe of Yehuda were sealed 12,000?
No, you said and of the tribe of Gad was sealed 12,000.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Reuben. It's Reuben.
Of the tribe of Reuben. I thought I read that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Of the tribe of Reuben was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000.
You notice Judah was sealed first? You know why? He said, glory and honor to the Jew first. Judah was the Jew. Judah was the first one that was called Jude. And Judah is his majestic white horse that he's going to ride in the battle. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 6. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000.
Well, why does Manasseh have 12,000 when Manasseh's Ephraim was the one that carried the stick of Joseph? We only had a half tribe of Ephraim and a half tribe of Manasseh that made up the house of Joseph. And down here in verse 8, Joseph was sealed 12,000. So it's an error that was made by the redactor. In other words, one of the tribes was left out. But we know that that's an error there. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our Elohim, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne, and about the 24 elders and the 4 beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worshiped Yah, saying, Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our Elohim forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes, and from where did they come?
Now, this is one of the elders in heaven. So, what are these people here that's arrayed in white robes, and where they come from? Now, he knew about the 12 tribes of Israel, but he was wondering about the nations, right? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 14. And I said unto him, Sir, you know. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb.
Jake was sealed from that, wasn't he? But the nations had to go through that great tribulation, because this is the time that the nations are going to hear the word. It's during the great tribulation period. There's going to be millions of people that's going to know that this man that they're going to put up is not the creator. There's going to be millions of people that's going to know that Yahweh is the creator of all things. How is it going to know this? Through the exploits of you.
But we not being deceived is knowing that it's going to happen, the heavens going to open twice. So we know that first time it opened up, we ain't going to have no part of that.
First time it opened up?
I mean, I'm saying we're not following that. Following that
Go to Afghanistan, broken all the caves and everything, hide yourself. That's what you do. Head for the hills when that happened, because you know what happened. Lucifer got thrown out, he had great wrath. Okay. Of course he done lost his place. He done lost his place, man. He will not have access to heaven anymore. Yeah. Now and then he's going to be what? A man. Okay. Go ahead and read.
Verse 15. Therefore are they before the throne of Elohim, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sits on the throne shall dwell among them.
He shall, future tense, dwell among them. They've just been sealed yet. Ain't nobody came here. So he shall dwell among them, right? When? After the first resurrection. And that's when the new heaven and new earth come. The Messiah is going to be dwelling here during the millennial kingdom. Okay. Go ahead and read.
Verse 16. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them.
Hold on. Okay.
verse 16. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters, and Elohim shall wipe away all tears from their eyes.
Then during the millennial kingdom, when peace and prosperity will be upon the earth, and the Messiah will be upon the earth, and all the nations will be in their own land, and the house of Judah will be governing the earth, then the people are going to have peace. See, all the nations have had their turn. Now it's our turn. Go ahead, brother. See, the last time I went up in heaven and started dealing around that throne, see, y'all coaxed something out of me that I wasn't going to give you. I want you to find it yourself. This time, I done been fortified a little bit more against y'all. So you find it yourself, and I'll let you know whether you got the truth or not. Go ahead and read it, brother.
Revelations chapter 8, verse 1. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before Elohim, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer. And there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before Elohim out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer, and filled it with fire of the altar, and cast it into the earth. And there were voices, and thunderings, and lightnings, and an earthquake. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. And they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass.
Only a third part, right? Now, when you read this, we're going to go read what goes along with this after we finish this. But when you read this, you read a trumpet, then you go read a vial. And read a trumpet, and you go read a vial. That's the way that takes place. But to save time, that's the reason why I'm reading it this way here today. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 8. And the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. And the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. And the third part of the ships were destroyed.
Now, we notice all of this is happening to 1/3 of the earth, right? This is what we are reading now is the actual destruction of the daughter of Babylon, America, the daughter of Babylon. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 10. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of water.
So now we got a third part of the creatures in the sea dying, right? Now we got a third part of the fresh water being destroyed, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 11. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters, because they were made bitter. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was mentioned, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars. So as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, 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 to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels, which are yet to sound.
Okay, now let's go into chapter 15 and verse 1 through chapter 16 and verse 8 and pick up the rest of the destruction of this nasty country over here we in.
Brother, you know, I heard something the other day. You know, a sea lion came and bit a diamond. And I've never heard of that one.
I heard that too.
And a shark, you know, sharks hardly even bother people. There's something going on out there in that ocean, right?
Sure.
A lot of stuff they dumping out there and stuff making those animals do stuff like that.
Well, you want to know what's happening in the ocean, brother, all you got to do is look. Read the news. The barrier reef is dying. The barrier reef is almost turned completely white, brother. Ain't no life on it whatsoever. So we can see why you got that red tide. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Why you had that red tide of algae that came up into that Gulf of Mexico, man. I mean, we were down there, boy, fish dead everywhere. The whole land was stinking. You see, so you can very well see what this is all about, man. Man is destroying this. Let's understand one thing. They used to call the earth Mother Earth because man was made from the earth. And he said, let the earth bring forth this. Let the earth bring forth that, right? The earth is a giant organism. And what is how? Oh, Malachi it's a letter out there for you. Did you get it? Okay. It's out there on the cabinet out there. The earth is a giant organism. And man, he's putting these alabaster cities all over it. It's like your body, putting big Band-Aids all over it. You get enough Band-Aids on your body, your skin can't breathe, you're going to be in big trouble. Okay, well, that's what's happening to the earth. The earth is getting to the place to where it can't reproduce anymore. You see, man is destroyed. They dumping all kind of nuclear waste and all other kind of waste in the seas. That's killing off the seas, and they've been all this junk they've been burying in the earth, and all these explosions they've been having, nuclear explosions they've been having in the earth. Don't you think this girl is ready to do something? She's ready to fight back, and that's what's happening. The earth is going to fight back. Yahweh created this earth to be inhabited. And we got to inhabit it. We can't fight for it, so the angels and the creation is going to fight for us. Go on and read.
We got to make a new heaven, a new earth. The earth to be burned, the heavens to be moving, all the rockets and flames, right?
Yeah. Well, the reason for the new earth is because blood was shed on this earth here, and the Creator of all things cannot come to this earth. I mean, he's too holy, man. Israel is too holy. Can't come to this earth here simply because of the blood that was shed from the Garden of Eden. That's the reason why we have to have a new earth. Okay. Go ahead and read, Steve.
Revelations chapter 15, verse 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having 7 last plagues. For in them is filled up the wrath of Elohim. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Elohim. And they sing the song of Moshe, the servant of Elohim, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are your works, Adonai Elohim Almighty. Just and true are your ways, you King of saints. Who shall not fear you, O Adonai, and glorify your name? For you only are holy, for all nations shall come and worship before you, for your judgments are made manifest. And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the testimony of the tabernacle in heaven was open. And the 7 angels...
No. Read that again.
Okay, I missed something again.
You read it backwards.
And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was open. And the 7 angels came out of the temple, having the 7 plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, and having their breasts girded with golden girdles. And one of the 4 beasts gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials, full of the wrath of Elohim, who lives forever and ever. And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of Elohim and from his power, and no man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, Go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Elohim upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea.
Every living, first the third part of things died, right? Now every living soul in the sea died. Go ahead. And we see it happening. We see it happening right before our eyes. And scientists has already told us that in the next 10 to 20 years, the earth will be nothing like we know it today because of the melting of the ice caps on the earth. It used to be 2 miles deep. That Eskimo said last week it's only 16 inches. And water got. And guess what? It's coming all up in your houses. Watch. Just watch. They're going to lose most of the shoreline around America before she's attacked. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 4. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, You are righteous, O Adonai, which are and were and shall be, because you have judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. And I heard another out of the altar say, Even so, Adonai Elohim Almighty, true and righteous are your judgments. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of Elohim, which have power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory.
Amen, my brother. I don't want to go no further. I want to go no further than that. From the Genesis, we understand that although there are 6 seeds planted in the earth, yet there proves to be only 2 categories. The one good seed and the tares who serve themselves of the things created. Knowing that one fight Yahweh Elohim is going to trouble all the waters of the earth, we must be mindful that our people must wade in these troubled waters in order to bring forth the fruit that he is here on the earth. How else can mankind be saved? So we worship and labor that we may be found worthy to bear the holy name of our Elohim in truth and in the spirit. So let us not think that we just fell into the truth because we were worthy. It's Yahweh's mercy, it's Yahweh's grace, and it is the greatest blessing we've received since birth. Let us not be as our fathers who were sent by Moshe to spy the Holy Land. Even though they held the very fruits of the land in their hands and beheld the magnificence of the fertile crescents, Yahweh's holy land, yet they brought up an evil reproach which troubled our fathers due to personal fears and lack of faith. Because I'm going to give y'all some scripture to read. I've been into y'all stuff pretty good today. I'm going to give y'all some scripture to read to follow the last we gave of Jeremiah 10 and verse 6 to verse 16. Psalms chapter 91 and verse 1 through chapter 20 and verse 8. Psalms chapter 19 and verse 1 through chapter 20 and verse 8. Isaiah chapter 48 and verse 1 through verse 22. Because of the fall and curses placed upon our fathers, the nations have no comforter, and that's due to the power and timeline given to Luciferian inclinations. So the results of our worldwide captivity has caused the pagan nations to resort to fun and games through politics and religion. Although the holy prophets thoroughly warned us of these atrocities of men and instructed us not to learn man's ways, pagan beliefs has sparked many plagues of religious doctrines to hypnotize our beleaguered people. Yet because of covenants Yahweh made with our fathers, the patriarchs of the holy seed, Yahweh has always preserved lights to eliminate parts of the gross darkness that plagues the earth. Surely your knowledge and the depth of your understanding proves that you are these lights in these latter days. Therefore, and herein we learn to love our merciful Father, Yeshua, our God, King, High Priest, and how to exhibit the attributes given by the Spirit to our holy family for mankind. And it's the keeping of these things that show our fear, or of rather, he who only is holy. When we read the holy story, better give you these 2 pieces here too. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1 through verse 8, and Matthew chapter 22, verse 1 through verse 21. We'll cover that next week, so do some research on it. When we read the Holy Story, we find Yahweh's lot to be his peculiar treasure in many ways, mainly because Yahweh chose our fathers, the patriarchs, before the foundation of the earth, and because from Adam, the holy seed chose to please themselves in the ways of the children of the adversary. And biblical and secular history proves this to be the reason we Hebrews are still in captivity worldwide to Lucifer's children. Contrary to what man teaches in church and in schools today, Yahweh did not lie to our fathers, the holy prophets. So the mysteries of the seven covenants and our purging and service bear record that we worship the living Elohim, and that the lot of our fathers, rather, has been cast into our laps in these days. So let us treasure these blessings that will go on into eternity. But if we be like Esau, who sold his birthright to satisfy his own lust, then assuredly a soul will find reason to allow the foolishness of the flesh to cause a soul to dishonor your birthright under the blood. Vanity of vanities, said the preacher, all is vanity. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Malachi chapter 3 and verse 13 through chapter 4 and verse 6. Malachi chapter 3 and verse 13 through chapter 4 and verse 6.
Before you go on, do you know, let me read Revelation 16, read what the seven angels, then you read the chapter, because we get to the seven angels, it says be full, right? Same thing again says, that would be the number, come to 76 days. Of course.
Seven and 12. 7 and 12. 7 is a perfect number. It was 12 tribes of Israel, simply because it was 12 tribes. There was 12 stars on the crown in Revelation chapter 12, and that crown is the bride that is in heaven, which is the church in heaven. Okay, so when people talk about, well, Israel, Yahweh got rid of Israel and chose us, then he have to throw that temple out of heaven. He ain't going to do that. Right. Malachi chapter 3, and pick that up at verse 13 through chapter 4 and verse 6, my brother.
Your words have been stout against me, says Yahweh. Yet you say, what have we spoken so much against you? You have said, it is vain to serve Elohim. And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before Yahweh of hosts? And now we call the proud happy. Yea, they that work wickedness are set up. Yea, they that tempt Elohim are even delivered. Then they that feared Yahweh spake often one to another, and Yahweh hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, says Yahweh, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spares his own son that serves him. Then shall you return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serves Elohim and him that serves him not. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble, and the day that comes shall burn them up, says Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and you shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. And you shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, says Yahweh of hosts. Remember you the law of Moshe my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse.
Amen and amen. And we know that when he said, I'm going to send you to, Elijah the prophet, we know that John the Baptist was considered an Elijah. And when David is raised up into the wilderness, he will also have to go forth in the power and might of Elijah. The question that we have to ask ourselves when we read these things is now that we say, that we see, what's your price? That's all I'm going to do today. And may go ahead, brother.
Before we go to, we just read there, it's a book of remembrance, right? So you know it says things that were written before time before learning. So people say, well, through the Old Testament, but those are things that were written before, and we should learn from our mistakes, right?
This is the book of remembrance that was written for us here. This is the book right here, brother. Like I said, that's all I'm going to do today, and may Yahweh have mercy upon us all.
Hallelujah.